Hey guys, Tim here with Two Feather Survival. Up in beautiful upstate New York. I don't want to just say New York because everybody immediately thinks that New York is simply the Long Island area, the New York City area. New York State is a beautiful state. It's got many natural wonders, beautiful gorges, beautiful fall, apples, all kinds of stuff come from upstate New York. I want to talk to you today about something that I have mentioned in the Facebook posts about before, but I haven't really had a chance to get out and do a video. This thing that I want to talk to you guys about is something that you can go to any Walmart and buy, go to any local sporting goods store and probably buy, and it is something that you and the whole family can have some enjoyment in. What is this magical product I'm talking about? Slingshots. Stay with me. Okay gang, why are slingshots such an interesting, when it comes to a survival, packable, sustainment weapon that most of the guys that are out there on various channels and other experts have all said, hey, that's a pretty good thing to have with you. Well, number one, they're usually typically small. Now, the one that I've got here is the Barnett, who make all kinds of crossbows, bow and arrows, those type of things. It's called the Pro Diablo 2. And you can get it in either tan or a green, and this is actually a rubberized, texturized handhold here. All of the other attachments that you see here, the balance attachment points, you can take all those off. So those are all things that you don't need. In fact, you could take off the wrist brace as well if it's illegal in your state, and actually the one that I'm in can't have these. So good thing we're out here in the middle of nowhere. So with the slingshots, if I have one of these in my pack, I've got a sustainable food gathering weapon for small game. The thing that you have to consider is you've got to actually take some time and practice with these things. Shooting styles could vary from a traditional upright shooting platform, or I could cant this and go with more of a traditional archer style platform. Both of the shooting styles from there are exactly the same. As long as I'm drawing back and anchoring at the same point on my face, I'm locking my arm out straight, then I've got a good shooting system to work with. And now all I have to worry about is where the aiming point is. As long as I haven't changed either the arm or my anchor point, then the last part of the equation is just lining up the sighting system. This one that I actually have actually has a small peep sight on it. And really, for all intents and purposes, I could go out and buy a more fancy sight from one of the local archery stores and turn this into an even more accurate weapon. And then if it's got a drop indicator on it, I know what range I need to shoot at for what given range that the target is. So there's a lot of things that you can actually do with these. Another great point of this, if I added in a whisker biscuit or some sort of an arrow rest on the front of this little guy, I now have, depending on the weight of the bands that I can get, and you can get a lot of different weights, I could have up to a 50-pound hunting bow. So now I've got something that in theory I could go out and start getting larger game with. Definitely small game. I could put a stump knock arrow on there, hit a squirrel upside the head, hit a rabbit upside the head, and now I've knocked them out or even killed them at that point, and now I've got the ability to go out and grab larger sources of protein while I'm out in the woods. So I really like the way that this one sets up. There's a lot that I want to do to it. You've seen the photographs that I've taken of this one and different variations of this same one that I'm looking to do. It's just hadn't had a real opportunity to get out and play with it. The good thing with the slingshots is this is something that I can bring my entire family out with. Slingshot ammo is fairly cheap. You can get boxes of it in a couple different sizes from Walmart for about $4 each. You can't beat that. And you got a day of fun and enjoyment that you can go out and share a skill with your children or wife, spouse, whatever significant other that you want to take out into the woods with you. And I can then teach them how to shoot this. And the good thing is all of the shooting principles with this now apply to a bow because I'm utilizing that same locking the arm out straight, drawing my anchor point back to the same point on my cheek every time, and now I've got a toy, in theory, a child's toy that I can turn into later down road into practicality for teaching archery and bowmanship with. So it's a cool thing. The other thing that I like with these, if I added in the whisker biscuit to the front of this, now I've got something that I can shoot any rock, anything hard that I find off the ground, ball bearings, BBs, whatever it is that I'm trying to shoot. Now with the addition of the whisker biscuit, I've turned this into a bow, and now I can use arrows that I've packed in with me. The good thing about these same arrows is a lot of these arrows that you can go out there, and there's guys on YouTube teaching you how to do it. You don't have to go out and spend the 70 bucks to do it, but I can make a packable breakdown arrow system that I can then throw into a backpack, and now I've got an easy way to get game should I find myself in a bad situation. So these really truly are a unique addition to a bug out bag or a survival kit, and it's something that anybody can go out and do. This doesn't break the bank. I bought this one off of eBay for I think $25, and that came with everything that you see here, so you really can't beat it. The one thing that I would say, if you're gonna pack something like this into your bag, make sure you've got a couple extra bands for the rubber band here. It's got a leather pouch on this one. This is basic surgical tubing. This will break down over time, so I want to take a couple of extra of these with me, and I want to make sure that I'm actually checking out my gear before I go and not just looking at it when I need it to work and I need it to save myself. So those are things that I can pack in with me. All of this breaks down small, goes into a small pouch inside my backpack, and now I've got an easy sustainment system. Alright guys, the shooting style that I've come to adopt with the Slingshot is more of what I guess some would call an instinctive style of shooting. There's a lot of archers that employ this type of method, and it's quite impressive once you actually see it done and get really the feel for it yourself. Some people choose, like I said earlier, they'll hold pistol grip style fashion. I'm going to just use my finger in lieu of a round right now, and they'll pull back an anchor here someplace underneath their chin and use that as a sighting system. Or you can pull back, and as what I'm feeling for is that top knuckle to hit the base of my ear, and again the arm holding the slingshot is locked out straight. I'm going to just pull this back, and this would be my same anchor point that I'm going to release from, more in an upright fashion. Now, the other way you could do this is I can simply turn my arm, still employ the same style of shooting, and I'm going to pull back, and I can either anchor at the corner of my mouth here, or I can come back a bit further and feel for that bottom lobe of my ear. The thing with this is, let me adjust the camera here a little bit, I don't want to see that, which means I'm going to ground the shot out. I don't want to see this, which means I'm going to launch it higher. I want to keep this pretty much straight down the center, dividing everything 50-50 in half, and I don't have any cant to the line one way or another. The other thing that I don't want to do is I'm gripping the pouch. You see this right now. I don't want to have the pouch like that, where one band clearly is higher than the other, or the reverse of that, because as this releases, one band will pull tight quicker than the other, and that's going to deflect your shot or your arrow one way or the other, depending on which way that the band is pulled. So, the other thing that you want to keep in mind with a good slingshot, especially with the ones that have pretty powerful bands to them, if I pull back and I sit here for a while, after a while I'm going to start shaking. I don't want to do that, because now is what I've done is I've thrown my shot off. So instinctive style of shooting is what I want to do is I've looked, I've identified a target, gonna already have a ball or an arrow already loaded and knocked in. Gonna pull back, come to my knock point, make sure that I'm aligned, and I'm going to release from that same point every time. Doing that way is going to ensure that I have everything lined up identical every time. The other thing that I don't want to do is I don't want to have this arm bent, okay? If I'm trying to bend this arm, I'm working against the bands and the muscles that are in my arm already, and I'm causing the shot to shake and fatigue myself quicker. If I lock that arm straight out and then pull it straight back, now I'm good to go. Key with that, pressing out, locking out. Now I've got a control platform. This is the same in not only rifle but also handgun shooting. So these are all commonality of techniques, and they're all things that anybody can do as long as I practice the basics and I apply those basics to all things. Slingshot, bow and arrow, handgun, rifle, then I've got the same technique for everything, and it all works the same every time. And that's something that I want to take some time and really emphasize on. So again, ball goes into the pouch, come back, I come to either an anchor point here at the corner of my mouth, or I come back and just feel for that anchor point at the back of the ear, and now I release the shot from there. So that's kind of the instinctive style of shooting. Whatever style that you're looking to shoot with for the slingshot is truly up to you. It's something that you're going to want to practice with and get good with before you take it out and try to hunt any game with these things. If I go out and I try hunting game and I simply wound an animal and then I lose it, well, that's not good for the animal, obviously. Now, I got a wounded animal out there. And two, for myself, I don't want to do that because I've got a wounded animal out there that really I didn't do any justice with. So as I am getting into hunting or whatever the thing is, make sure that you're going out there. If you're going to take game, number one, make sure that you need it to use. Need it to increase your own body, your sustainment of yourself. And two, make sure that it's a good clean kill. Don't just wound animals for the fun of it. Leave them to die out in the woods. You wouldn't want that done to you, and really it's not fair to the animals at all. Slingshots are a great thing. I strongly recommend you having one in your pack. Doesn't have to be one this fancy. You could get anything basic. They're all going to work on the same principles. Could just be a forked stick that you find out in the woods, and I just at least have the rubber band pieces. I can improvise a slingshot in the woods, and now I've got an impromptu hunting device. So it's something that you should take some time, practice with it, consider with it, see if you have the room in your pack. First of all, for something like this, I think everybody can find room at least for some elastic bands in their pack. And now I've got a great tool to take with me in the woods. That's all I got time for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this small, brief discussion about slingshots, or as my friends across the puddle call them, catapults. Same things. So, think about it. Employ it and see if it's going to fit for you. And always, have a great day, guys. And until next time, see you then.